Okay, we're
152.
live.
All right, good afternoon and welcome back to the House Environment Committee. We are going to get into a few bill introductions. Kick it off with Representative Marcotte. Welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, committee, for taking a look at H-152. For the record, my name is Michael Marcotte. I'm the state representative in Coventry and chair of House Commerce and Economic Development. The reason for the bill started last summer. I was having a conversation with the manager at the landfill in Coventry. We were talking about a pilot or a demonstration project that they had looked at and found out that they actually needed a permit in order to have that project, have that demonstration supposed to go forward. And it was my understanding, talking with him, that permitting process is lengthy and difficult, and really wouldn't help with a demonstration project. So continued to have those conversations, and thought it made a whole lot of sense that we should try to create a permit that would allow for these demonstrations to happen in a shorter period of time without giving up any their responsibility for making sure that they're continuing to protect the environment. And so that's where this bill came from. I know that there was a lot of discussions between Casella and with the agency and the department. And so I think that's a result of what that legislation is. My understanding is that although I haven't had a conversation with them, that UVM would be interested in this type of permitting process as well. So I think that we need to continue to look at innovative ways of protecting the environment for removing PFAS or whatever other chemicals are in the leachate, in the groundwater, whatever's in the air. And I think that this would give us the ability to be on the cutting edge of receiving some of those demonstrations and actually maybe putting them into place if they actually are working.
You may know that we just heard from, we invited Woody Page in to help us orient to the concerns of the residents around Coventry landfill. And then we just heard from Matt Chapman and also Sam Nicolai. Yeah, about the landfill. So I welcome, if you want to share any thoughts you have on landfill, since you're in Coventry. Welcome to do that too. I mean, I get that this is part of that.
Well, I was on a select board when the landfill began.
Which was when?
Back in the late 90s, I think. It was investors from Quebec that actually purchased the property there and started Waste USA. A few years later, I think Casella purchased that property and continued to move things forward. I can tell you through my interactions with Casella, and I think, Madam Chair, you and some of the committee have gone to the facility as well. And I've gone through many times through the facility. I'm always impressed with the way that Casella has run the facility. And I think the town has, for the most part, embraced having the facility there. The years that I was on a select board, which was 29 years, we really, anytime they went for permitting, there was very little to no discussions from any of the other communities. This has just started, I think, from the last time they went through the permitting process to expand the landfill, where people, so I don't think people were paying attention or they were agnostic about it. I'm glad to see people are actually looking and standing up and asking the questions that need to be asked and making sure that the facility stays safe and that it keeps Lake Memphremagog safe, which I think that they are doing. And, you know, the leachate has been a problem, continues to be a problem. And the soils that there's farms around the landfill. There has been sludge that's been spread on those fields, prior to, well, back during the fish concert days and prior to that. There was sludge being spread on the fields there, which talk about, elevated PFAS concentrations in the groundwater up there. And I'm sure some of that has to do with some of that sludge being spread. It's no longer being spread there, but and I think that's another issue is that, utilizing sludge for cover on the landfill. And then it rains and the water, leachates down, and we're pre-treating the leachate. Then we're putting that back onto it's just hopefully sometime, some way, there's something out there that can actually get rid of the contaminants that are in the sludge. So that we're not just keep repeating that cycle over and over and over again.
And so just back to the bill as you introduced it, did you worked with stakeholder kind of partners with it?
Yeah.
And it was DC, Casella, and you?
Yeah, and I think Casella had hired MMR to work with them and to help draft that language along with Matt Chapman.
Great, thank you. Matt, did you want to comment on the bill at all or on the?
I mean, I think it's safe. So for the record, Matt Chapman, Director of the Waste Management and Prevention Division. We did work both, and frankly, we coordinated internally with the major media program. So air, waste, and water on this program. I think that, we've acknowledged for an innovative treatment system that they're planning to run for 6 months to a year to have a potentially multi-year permitting process around that treatment system doesn't make a lot of sense. This was born out of Casella and them trying to do some innovative things on their treatment. But as Representative Marcotte said, UVM is interested. We also know that the wastewater treatment facilities may be looking at doing some innovative treatment over the next several years as well, to try and deal with emerging contaminant issues at wastewater treatment facilities. So we tried to write it in a way that didn't limit us to just a landfill. Also to make sure that we had sort of a role at the beginning of this process to have them come into us, review the design of what's going on and say, yeah, this makes sense, or no, this doesn't make sense based on where you're located or the potential emissions or other issues. So there is a screening process that the agency is going to be involved in, though I will acknowledge with innovative technologies, what you're doing a lot of times is you're seeing you're piloting out these things. So we don't know a lot until we actually get them up and running. Again, that's why there's also a provision in there that says, look, if there's data that shows that you have an issue, you need to report that up to the agency and we can pull the plug on the treatment system during its sort of run period so that we're, again, being protective of the community and the local environment.
You envision there'd still be active engagement and oversight?
Oh, absolutely. This is not intended to be sort of here, you can go ahead and do treatment without oversight. It's trying to align the permitting process to sort of the limited duration scope of what they're trying to do, and also not to give a person the ability to use a demonstration project as a substitute for their full permitting process, right? This gives you the ability to try something out and see whether it works and see whether you're getting sort of the removal efficiency for the contaminant of concern that you want to deal with. And then you come in for the permit to basically get your permits to operate it in sort of a full scale approach.
All right, do members have questions for Representative Marcotte or Matt Chapman? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Welcome, Representative Brannigan.
Thank you. This is Representative Day, I take it.
Yes. We're here to hear about H 119, which you've introduced, an act relating to the beverage container system.
Yes. Thank you for inviting me into your committee. My name is Carolyn Brannigan. I represent the towns of Georgia and Fairfax, two towns up in Franklin County. I've lived in Georgia my entire life, and I've represented Fairfax for 21 years. I sort of feel like I've lived there my entire life too. But this bill is one that I've had on my mind for several years, and I think I may have submitted it once before, but it didn't go anywhere. So I thought I'd try it again. This is important. You know, Franklin County is sort of the way Vermont used to be. We have a lot of farms, a lot of maple loggers, a small community of St. Albans is the center of our county. We have the courthouse there, and the police, the state police are anchored there. It's small. It's hard to find someone who doesn't know anybody. You know, you know people. Or if you ask a person or two, you could find someone who knows who you're looking for. So I think that the old ways are coming back, and that's taking care of what you have, picking up, keeping things clean, reusing. I just think that that is a modern way now of thinking. So I think we need to take better care of the materials we have, plastics, glass, whatever is recyclable, you reuse them. And I don't know if this bill makes any sense or not. I threw in the raising the deposit from 5 to 10 because I had heard that some folks thought that there would be more participation picking up these things off the roadside if there was more money involved. And I certainly remember my children being anxious to, you know, collect for Boy Scouts, going around and picking up bottles, and when there was money involved. And I think that 10 cents would probably be appealing to some 4-H clubs or something. So this expands the things that would qualify for recycling, seltzer bottles, water, juice bottles, more than just what we're collecting now. And you guys are the experts, so you can, I'm sure, spot flaw in the bill. And if the idea appeals to you, you can correct it here. I know in my committee, I'm on the tax committee. I've been there the whole time I've been here in this legislature. So if I read a bill and I can see there's a flaw in the tax collection or the way the tax is assessed, that's what I want you to do with this bill too, because I'm not the expert. I don't know how this system works. And so I'm leaning on you. I'm presenting you the idea and hoping that it'll work for the sake of all of our children and grandchildren, future of Vermont. It's really important. Can I answer any questions?
Thank you for introducing it and for joining us today. Do members have questions? Representative North and then Austin.
Do you have any data, any information on how successful the current 5-cent program is with the bottles to which it applies? Are we finding many of those deposits, that those bottles either don't get recycled or don't get returned, or?
I know that there's a significant amount of them that don't get returned. We in the tax committee talk about this thing called the S-cheat, which is, you know, the resource floating around in the ether, not collected, not redeemed by anyone. And that is significant. The last time I looked, that was in the millions. So there's some money out there.
Any idea what percentage of the bottles that correlates to?
I don't know.
We do have all that.
Yeah, that data is.
Christy, I think it was 75%. Christy was our bottle bill guy last time.
Yeah. You know that.
Yeah, we can get all that.
We even wrote the bill. Didn't you? I didn't realize that. Anyway.
Representative Austin.
Yep. So I don't recycle my bottles. I put them in my recycling because I wanted to go to the water fund.
Uh-huh.
So I'm assuming this would, well, I do, I really,
No.
what? Is
Yeah,
that
we
a,
understand. Yeah.
is that a bad thing to do? No. But I'm just, you know, in my thinking that, either it would take funds out of the water fund or it would increase the water funds. Did you look at that? Like,
The water fund is one of my favorite things. Property transfer tax, that was my idea.
oh, okay,
Yeah,
Uh,
so, I don't know the answer to your question.
okay.
I haven't figured out a percentage, or I don't see how it would take money out of the water fund.
I'm just thinking if people didn't do that because because it was now 10 cents, it was now more, you know, in terms of the deposit.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Good question.
There'd be
If-
more.
If it turns out the 10 cents doesn't appeal to you, or you think there might be some flaw, set it back to 5 and just increase the base. Increase the number, then kinds of bottles that are collectible.
Yep.
So, but whatever, I just think we need some change to step forward and, make this process of cleaning up our woods and our roads and the fairgrounds and so forth, all that, start improving those areas.
Yeah.
Does this one add in the water bottles?
Yeah, I thought it did seltzer water.
But, and our, no carbonated. Oh, water, yeah, okay, great.
Add it in if it's not
So it is there.
specifically listed. My idea was that it would be.
It is there, non-carbonated water. I just hadn't gotten there yet. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Can I go back to Ways and Means?
Well, you can stay here. Isn't it a lovely committee room?
But anyway, thank you. Good luck, and call me back if you have further questions, and I'll go find the answer.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah, Woody Page coming back. Have 2 bills from our own Rob North. Is that a surprise? We can wait for Woody.
How do they determine how many, what the percentages of? Is it based on what is redeemed in Vermont? Is that how, yeah.
Yeah, the numbers are pretty impressive, the information that's available on the success of it and the kind of the gaps. This bill is seeking to kind of fix what we think of as one side of it, which is that when the original bottle bill passed, it didn't contemplate the products that you see added here. If you have pulled up the bill, H119, it adds things like cider, hard kombucha. You know, we just didn't think of those, and so there's different ways that I think 11 bottle bill states, and they kind of all take different approaches. The big thing is that the manufacturers really, really value this material because it takes I think it's 30 days for an aluminum can to go from the beverage redemption system, from the bottle return system to becoming a new can. It's and that aluminum is incredibly valuable. And the more kind of clean and pure that product is, the faster and easier it is for them to reuse it.
We have a setup in Poultney at the the Poultney landfill system there, where the person that runs the landfill has set up a program and return bottles. So they have a different nonprofit or whatever come on the weekends. Every weekend, they save all the bottles for the whole entire week, and then they set up a little stand, and then they recycle the bottles and take it. But we take everything to New York. And one of the reasons we do it is they have in Granville, they have a fairly good redemption center. But the other thing is they accept water bottles. So he's got everybody kind of trained at the transfer station that these water bottles that don't have a deposit listed on are acceptable in New York.
They have a New York deposit, I guess.
There's a New York deposit, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a main deposit.
What do you say? He's going to check?
Yes, in the room, and I did send the email. Reminder if you like.
I'm gonna go offline.